If you are a peated head.
A peated head?
A peated head.
Or a peanut head. I almost said America, then I remembered it's Scotland.
I smell the Atlantic Ocean in here. I smell the Atlantic.
The Pacific is a little saltier.
I noticed that. Yeah, the Pacific is a little saltier. I wonder why that is. Whiskey fam, sit down and grab a dram as we review some Laphroaig. I got Nick the fish in the house once again. Good to see you.
Good to see you. It's nice to get into another new bottle.
Yeah. So we're going to do a fresh uncorking on this bad boy. So this is an independent bottling of the Laphroaig 15-year called It's Been a Long Way Home. And I'm so eager to get into this. Now, some of you guys are probably not into peated whiskey. Maybe you're just not into Scotch. But if you want to learn about Scotch, certainly like a Laphroaig bottling is going to be a little bit more adventurous. It may not be your first choice, but as you watch this video, at least you get a little insight on this bad boy right here. So this is an independent bottling by the Whiskey Barrel. They're based out of the UK.
They're in Scotland.
They're in Scotland? Okay. Now, Nick actually hooked me up with this bottle, ordered it, and you know, we've been actually sitting on this. I haven't had a chance to try it, so I have no idea what I'm in for. But as an enthusiast of Laphroaig, as a big fan of Laphroaig, if it's anything like the rest of their bottlings, I know I'm in for a treat. And if you're a peat head like myself and Nick, you're certainly probably going to want to chase after this. So before we dive in, do you know if it's still available, the 15-year?
It maybe, I haven't looked. There were still bottles when I ordered, and I ordered 5 is what I ended up ordering total of this one.
Nice. And
you are in for a treat.
Now, it's not a big offering, so just for awareness, this is bottle 249 out of 257. So they only bottled 257 of these, and it's bottled at 53.9% ABV, so it's about that mid-range in proof. Not a low proof,
Great
not a high
for
proof.
Scotch.
Yeah, especially for 15 years too. Distilled in 2006 and bottled in 2021. So let's dive in, shall we? Again, a fresh uncorking, so let's get rid of this little necktie. You ready?
I've been smiling since we talked about the video.
Here we go, and here we go. Oh yeah, look at those bubbles too. Golly, that's a lot of bubbles. It looks like a soda. Looks like carbonation in there. I mean, I did agitate it, but...
I almost said America, then I remembered it's Scotland.
Maybe you could do the America version of Scotland.
Scotland. America.
Now it's light in color. This is not a dark colored whiskey, and that lets me know they didn't add any coloring to it. Some Scotch, some even Irish whiskey. I think they add some coloring from time to time. Some of your Laphroaig 10 years look very dark, and this being a 15-year, that lets you know that maybe those 10 years do have some coloring added. So let's get into this.
That one's aged in a hogshead, which is a little bit different than what they usually do, right?
Yeah. So my experience with most Laphroaig is that it is at least aged in an ex-bourbon barrel. And they typically use Maker's Mark. Don't know if you guys knew that. Not all the time, but most of their stuff is bottled in an ex-Maker's Mark, which is a wheated bourbon. But this being in a hogshead, I'm not quite sure what to anticipate other than I believe they use hogshead cask more for wine aging. I couldn't tell you what specific wines, maybe it's sherry or something like that, but usually if it is aged in a sherry cask, they'll specifically say Pedro Jimenez, right? They're big bold letters, right? But this is a hogshead. Have you ever had any wine from a hogshead?
Not that I know of specifically.
Yeah. Look at those bubbles, man. Yeah, this thing's got like carbonation.
Yeah, it moved a little bit, and it's
a little weird. All them fun little bubbles. Those are big bubbles. So again, this is in the mid-range, so not like high proof, but higher than most Laphroaigs. They tend to be like in that 43%, 47% range ABV. What are you getting on that nose, man? This is like heaven in a glass. Fruity though, fruity.
Peat smoke, and I get Werther's Original.
I get some caramel. I think the first thing for me that stands out is it smells a lot like lemon meringue pie. Briny, citrus forward. I get a good amount of like pineapple.
I could get some brine and maybe lemon, like lemon rind. I'm not getting the pineapple one. I'm getting more like butterscotchy notes than fruity.
It's sweet. It's very sweet. And it is peat smoke. I get that peat smoke for sure. Not a peat bomb. Mind you, I think if we were having like a 10-year, an 8-year, even a 12-year, you would get a little bit more peat. My experience with some of the more peated Scotch, peated Laphroaig, is the older the Laphroaig, the less peat you get on the nose. I'm not sure if that's always going to be true, but certainly less aggressive peat. And that's another thing too. If you guys are not necessarily too familiar with Islay Scotch, that's basically Scotch made from the Isle of Islay. That's where Laphroaig's from. You're going to find Ardbeg, Brooklady, Colilla. A lot of those brands, they're synonymous with peat smoke. I mean, that's kind of like their namesake. That's what they are really known for, as being peat forward. But this feels very fruity, really nice and balanced on the nose. So I also get a little leather, but a lot of brine, a lot of lemon meringue.
Get a little bit of the like lemon zest, of caramel, some light, like the peat, but not as smoky, more salty. And then a caramel notes, like a Werther's Original type candy or something, the sweetness. And
yeah, it's a maritime Scotch.
Like a salted caramel,
sea salt,
kind of.
like real briny. I smell the Atlantic Ocean in here. I smell the Atlantic.
The Pacific is a little saltier.
I noticed that. Yeah, the Pacific is a little saltier. I wonder why that is. Let's dive in, my friend. Now, I don't know if it's just because of the glass that I'm drinking from, but my whiskey tastes better. This is a Whiskey One glass, and if you're new to the channel and you're just checking us out, we appreciate your support. And if you're a return sipper, I really appreciate you guys stopping by time and time again to support the channel. And one of the ways that you could probably drink out of a glass just like this is by becoming a Patreon. We have some information, and scan the link here in this video to join our Patreon page and become a patron. And if you become a patron within the next month or two, we'll definitely send you one of these glasses for free. So just food for thought.
Other people's whiskey tastes amazing in a Whiskey One Glencairn.
I appreciate you saying that. I really do. And I don't know if it is just the Whiskey One Glencairn, but dang, this tastes really good. Really good. I'm going to take another sip though. Wow. I don't know that you get any surprises on the taste that you got from nosing it. I still get more lemon, more brine. It feels zesty. Smokiness really hangs on to the palate.
Smoky, caramel, real smooth. Like the smoke is like clean, like barbecue smoke, not like campfire smoke. It's like a smoke you could cook with.
Mm-hmm.
A little salty still.
So some Laphroaig tends to be like soot. I would say I agree with you. It's more of a campfire smoke than like a sooty type of smoke, almost like an ashtray. I don't get that. This feels a lot more approachable on the smoke level. And for being a higher proof whiskey, it doesn't burn the palate. Man, this goes down really, really nice. It is silky, in my opinion. I think, to your point, it is a bit smooth, especially for an Islay whiskey. I don't think people think of Islay whiskey as being synonymous with smooth most of the time. It's probably like, oh, that's an aggressive Scotch.
Oh, for a Laphroaig, this one's a little bit more subdued. It's got a kind of a cleaner.
Yeah, butter. I'm getting like buttered biscuit, kettle corn.
Very buttery.
Yeah. But man, it is very fruity. And for those of you guys watching, you know, again, Laphroaig tends to be vanilla and chocolate heavy, smoky, but very, very smoky and a lot of leather. This one has some of those elements, but to your point, like more subdued. They're there, but just not what you typically expect from a Laphroaig. I don't know if it's just because it's an older one. And so a lot of those qualities that people like gravitate to, like that extreme peat smoke, are not here. They're just well balanced. I feel like they're playing nice in the sandbox.
If this one's anything like the previous bottle I've tried, after a little bit of rest with some air now that it's been opened, the other one I tried was a butterscotch bomb. It was like a Werther's Original. The peat went down even more. The sweetness and caramel flavors intensified. So I think on a revisit on this one, it's going to sweeten up even more.
Yeah, and with return sips, as I keep going back to it, the sweetness starts to build on the palate. It starts hugging the tongue, the cheeks, and then the smoke starts to show itself later. It's an afterthought. It's not as smoke forward. Certainly you get it, but it's sort of lingering. And this has got a nice long finish.
I think just sitting there, like you said, it's already starting to morph into a more butterscotch, less smoky flavor profile, just as we talk about it and sip on it right now.
Yeah, and this is an interesting bottling. I really like the graphics and the backstory behind this. If you guys aren't aware of this bottling, it was to commemorate the Apollo 14 mission in which, Alan Shepard landed on the moon. Looks like, the Apollo 13 mission was supposed to land in the same spot that the 14 did. Only thing is, Apollo 14 was successful in that venture. And it was a commemoration of that. I think that sometimes some of these bottlings could be purely marketing and maybe hide the fact that maybe the whiskey's not good, just to sell based on marketing alone. But I would say that this, to me, is a hitter. If you're a fan of Laphroaig, you know what you're getting into, and this definitely checks all those boxes. I would highly recommend it because if you don't have a 15-year Laphroaig, or you find that it's a little harder to find these days, this is going to be the bottling for you.
And they do have a regular release Laphroaig 15. I don't think it's too hard to get, but I'd be interested in doing a side-by-side if one of us...
Yeah, if I can find a 15-year.
Yeah, they're not... Well, we could find them.
Okay. Well, you guys interested in seeing us compare this one to a 15-year Laphroaig? Let us know. Drop a comment below in the video. I would definitely do that. And we'll actually hunt it down if you guys do request it. What are your final thoughts on this?
I'm happy I bought more than one bottle.
100%.
Especially with its the limited run of 257 bottles, one cask. Yeah. I would recommend ordering with some friends and adding at least 6 and up bottles to help with the shipping.
I would say that this is for the whiskey curious. Not just because of the marketing aspect of it, but I think if you're going for a 15-year Laphroaig, odds are you have the 10-year. Odds are you have something else. Maybe an independent bottling of a 12-year. Maybe you have an 18 or a 21, so on and so forth. You're going to want to get this just to see the progression as time goes on.
Some of the reviews, because I looked up the bottle, you could find some reviews on it online, and some of the... I guess knocks on it was off profile for Laphroaig, which to me is a good thing, especially for a single cask or single barrel release, because you want to try some different things that they can do or that happen with their distillates. So to me, that's kind of cool because you get to taste different nuances of what they do.
I appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully you got a little insight if you're curious about this bottle and you see it online. Hopefully we let you know what to expect. And Nick, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you, my friend.
Appreciate your whiskey.
You got it. You got it. So he has one too. So after this, we'll be going to
drink
his
wine.
bottle. Yeah, for sure. Here at Whiskey One, it's about the one you enjoy. Cheers.
Cheers.